Hello, my name is Sophia and we are Group 20 from University of Limerick. In this video, we will present research to you on equality in education and race. Here is our table of contents and I will walk you through each of those points so you can get a better understanding on this topic. By definition, racial equality in education refers to the unequal access to quality, education, and resources based on race. It leads to disparities in academic achievement, opportunities, and outcomes, with marginalized racial groups often facing significant barriers to success. Why is this topic so important? Racial inequality in education limits opportunities and perpetuates injustice. Addressing it promotes fairness, social progress, and equal opportunities for all. Impact of racial inequality in education. Limited economic opportunities. Poor education access reduces job prospects and income potential, perpetuating poverty. Generational cycles of disadvantage. Poor education access impacts future generations, trapping families in systematic inequality. Mental health. Various minorities which might suffer from racial harassment may have negative mental health, which affects their academic scoring. Moving on to our 4 causes. Socioeconomic status. Low-income students, often from racial minorities, face challenges like limited resources and support, affecting academic performance. Historical legacy of discrimination. Past racism and segregation have created lasting disparities in access to quality education for communities of color. Stereotyping. Racial biases lead to lower expectations and unequal treatment, impacting opportunities and support for students of color. Social environment. A student's social conditions such as neighborhood safety and community resources can hinder academic success, particularly for minority students. 2 group members from Indonesia, Nesmi and Nirmala, created a survey about racial inequality in Indonesia. Here's a sample of the results. These charts collectively show that both cultural attitudes and systematic issues are key drivers of racial inequality in education. The proposed solutions suggest a strong preference for awareness building over structural and policy changes, reflecting the belief that changing attitudes is essential to addressing systematic barriers. However, addressing both cultural and institutional factors is essential for long-term change. For this research project, we decided to include SDG 4 and 16. SDG 4 aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education for all. Racial inequality in education directly contradicts this goal by marginalizing certain groups and denying them equal access to learning opportunities, resources, and outcomes. Addressing racial disparities is essential to achieving SDG 4's focus on equitable access and eliminating discrimination in education systems. SDG 16 promotes inclusive societies and justice, which are undermined by racial inequality in education. Discrimination in schools perpetuates social injustice, creating divisions and limiting marginalized groups' ability to participate fully in society. Ensuring fairness in education fosters social unity, reduces inequality, and strengthens institutions by promoting equal opportunities for all individuals. Moving on to racial inequities in Indonesian education, we have researched these points. Disparities in access. Rural and indigenous groups such as the Papuans face limited access to schools and educational resources compared to urban populations. Cultural and linguistic barriers. Education is often delivered in the national language, Bahasa Indonesia, which can disadvantage indigenous children who speak local languages. Economic factors. High poverty rates in certain communities make education unaffordable, with families prioritizing labor over schooling. Discrimination. Marginalized groups may experience bias in school environments or curricula that undervalue their cultures and histories. Regional inequality. Wealthier provinces like Java have significantly better educational outcomes than remote regions like Papua and the West Nusa Tenggara. For Ireland, we have found certain similarities such as disparities in access. Minority groups such as travelers and migrants face barriers to accessing education due to socioeconomic factors and discrimination. Cultural exclusion. Curricula often lack representation of diverse cultures, making minority students feel excluded. Bullying and discrimination. Minority students, including people of color and traveler children, often experience racism and bias in schools. Teacher diversity. A lack of diversity among educators can limit cultural understanding and inclusive practices in classrooms. Government efforts. Initiatives like the National Traveler and Roma Inclusion Strategy aim to address these gaps, but the progress is slow. The Irish language. For many migrants, the pressure of learning the Irish language can be harmful as Ireland's main language is English. Lastly, here are some solutions which would aid the inequalities in the educational sector. Inclusive curriculum. Develop a curriculum that reflects diverse cultures and histories to promote understanding and representation for all students. Anti-discrimination policies. Enforce strict anti-racism policies in schools, paired with training for teachers and staff to address biases and create inclusive environments. Equal resource allocation. Ensure schools in disadvantaged areas receive sufficient funding, qualified teachers, and access to technology and learning materials. Support for marginalized students. Provide targeted support such as scholarship, mentorship programs, and language assistance to help underrepresented groups succeed academically. To sum up this video, I wanted to conclude by saying a big thank you to our virtual exchange group and supportive lecturers. Thank you for listening, and I hope you were able to gather various insights from our video.